Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Major rumours and speculation going down in the VALORANT world yesterday, especially with regard to 100T after lots of drama over recent weeks. Boostio versus Nadeshot, the content stuff that was going down, then the results of experience as a team, and now speculation that their team might be getting ready to make some serious roster changes at the end of the season. 100 Thieves themselves, they come out and say, hey, this isn't exactly what it seems, but very much intrigued your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, we've got to talk about some of the results in the playoffs around the world. Here was Fnatic versus FaZe Esports, of course, that was going down yesterday. Both of these teams are going to be there at the World Championship without too many problems. But yeah, Durka, what a player this guy is still. And Fnatic take the victory 2-0 there. This was particularly impressive, I thought, really, from Fnatic, just because where they've been over the last few months, the fact that they've been slowly grinding themselves back to being in a respectable position, and that's exactly what they delivered here, right? Like a 15-13 bonkers sunset, and then 13-5, they pretty much dominated the Haven. So, you know, an impressive 2-0 win. Fnatic get to the upper finals, but Vitality, this was really the impressive result. Now, Heretics had made it, and Vitality needed to win one of their next two series in order to make it to the World Championship, and that's exactly what they did. Awesome result here, really. I know that Heretics, of course, still considered to be a serious threat from this region, and for good reason, but they didn't play their best stuff. Wout didn't have his best series, and Safe, what a player, also Trex as well, but you know, Safe's been in the news really for the last couple of weeks because of all the trash he was talking on Liquid and stuff like this. And Vitality absolutely did not intend to, you know, be losing this series, right? They came straight through. They won, well, Heretics won the game, won 14-12 on the Icebox, but then Vitality bounced back 13-10 on Heretics pick, and then they won the bind in a ridiculous overtime. So, banger series. Heretics won't feel too bad about it, I don't think, just because, you know, they still know that they're going to be competent and it's not the end of the world for them. They've already qualified for champions, but they would still like to win the playoffs, of course, and Vitality, with a lot to play for, they get the job done. That means, by the way, that Karmine Corp are dusted. That's it for them. Karmine Corp done. Their season is over. And just to quickly look at what's going on in China, FPX, Edward Gaming, they are guaranteed to be through. But with Trace Esports winning against FPX yesterday, that puts them to the World Championship as well. So what a result from them, just because, you know, FPX had already qualified. I do feel like sometimes in these series, when you've got one team that's already qualified, one team that hasn't, sure, there's going to be a little bit more on the line. But this was really impressive, like 13-3 to Trace Esports on their pick Ascent against FPX. That isn't easy to do. And I'm just hoping that when we get to the World Championship, teams like Trace Esports, teams like, who knows about Billy Gaming, if they can win this game 3 right now against Edward Game, but it ain't looking good. They're currently down 8-1 as I record this video. They just won the map 2 binds though. They just bounced back and won that 13-7 after losing map 1 13-5. But you know, Edward are going to be there anyway, as are FPX, but as are now Trace Esports, and that's a really cool storyline. Hopefully we can see some continued progression from that region. And just to mention, by the way, today is the day that all of this stuff is going to go down. So Crew versus Cloud9, Sentinels 100 Thieves to start out the Americas. It's going to be absolutely mega. There's no doubt about that. The SEN 100T series especially, and we'll get onto that more in a couple of seconds. Quickly on Fnatic though, there were some questions. Is Leo coming back? Is he not coming back? What's going on with Hero? Is he going to stay in the team? And yeah, Fnatic say after further discussions, we've made the decision to continue with Hero. Leo is, I think he's maybe improving, but he's not quite well enough yet to return. So, yeah, wishing the best for him, absolutely. And as Kojo says, like, Leo's one of the best players in the world. We're not getting rid of him. If he's ready to play and able to play, he will play. But for now, that's not the case. And to be fair, even without him, they've been, you know, making progress and getting better in some respects. So maybe they'd have done that with Leo regardless. But they've clearly made some decent decisions there. I think the tough one from yesterday in many ways was Karmine Corp, right? Because of the way they started the season, they won the kickoff. They went to Masters Madrid, had a solid result 5th, 6th, but since then it hasn't been as good for these guys. Obviously they started last season horribly, they continued last season horribly, they made the roster changes, they were looking so good at the start of the season, right, them and Team Heretics, but you know, there was only one of those two teams that could actually maintain it, and it wasn't these boys, right? So, yeah, they're not going to be qualifying for Shanghai. Their only hope was that if Vitality got double bopped out of the tournament, so if they lost to Heretics, they lost to FaZe Esports, then Vitality would have been gone, and KC would have been in, but that's not how it worked out, right? So, yeah, pretty rough result for them after the way they started the season, but kind of back to the drawing board in some respects. These then are going to be your team. So actually, Billy, by making it as they did, the amount of points they accrued, they are going to be there. So whatever happens in that series right now, as we talked about a second ago, as let's just see, okay, Billy got one back, it's now 8-2, but regardless of what happens there, they are going to be there at Champions, it seems. So no FNS and SOM, unfortunately, no NRG for Billy to knock out of the tournament again. Also no Ardis there, no Na'Vi are going to be at the World Championship either. So the teams are locked in for the various regions. Heretics, Foot, Fnatic, Vitality from EMEA, Gen.G, Paperx, DRX, Talon, Edward, FPX, Billy, Trace, and today we will get more implications on that from the Americas. It's only Leviathan that have qualified so far, but according to, what was it, Chet, formerly now of NRG, he reckons Lev are a serious threat and potentially the team that's going to win it all. But let's talk about some of this 100 Thieves stuff, right? So Sentinels, they're actually going to be playing the Red Bull home grounds in the off-season, so pretty cool to see that's already locked in for those guys. We'll say a little bit more on Sentinels here in a second, but over the last few days, there was lots of drama really on this 100T team. There was the whole content stuff with Nadeshot. There was then, even more recently really, a couple of days ago, what Dryad had to say on the team chemistry, just a feeling that she had listening to their communications, listening to their interviews, that the team wasn't necessarily getting along so well. Now, the team obviously disagreed with this and said she's got no idea what she's talking about, and it's all speculation, and she kind of apologized and said, okay, yeah, I didn't really mean to imply it in the way that I did. I probably misspoke to a certain extent, and only speculation on her part anyway, and I thought it was blown out of proportion to some degree as we looked at yesterday. But we then got this that was noted from this kind of automatic scan VCT account on a change to the VCT database. Cryo contract end date was changed from 2025 to 2024. And then we saw the following occur with all of Asuna, Bang, and EU as well. So on the official contract database, their contracts were linked to be 2025 ending. So they were signing those guys for this year and the next. And Boostio's end date was already 2024, so they gave him effectively a one-year deal. But all of those got adjusted yesterday, which means that the entire team is going to be a free agent at the end of the season. Now, that is obviously worthy of note. The question is whether this was actually changed now or whether this was kind of always a thing and there was simply a mistake on the database. But the timing is quite fascinating, isn't it, right? Because we get this speculation a couple of days ago, the 100T boys, they're not necessarily seeing eye to eye so much, there's problems in their communication, and it's all speculation, who really knows what's going on. But nonetheless, then a couple of days later, it seems like 100T are changing the contracts to say, you know what, guys, actually, we're not going to sign anyone for a guaranteed new season. We are going to wait and see what happens over the coming hours, frankly, here, to see, what happens in the playoffs. Obviously, if they go out of the tournament 100T, they could still potentially make it based on champions points and stuff like this. The same, of course, also applies for Sentinels as well, and Sentinels have a better chance because they've got more champions points than 100T have. But, there's still a chance for 100T to make it, but they really need to win tonight. And if they don't make champions, then they, will have to consider making some sort of changes. However, the VP of Esports over there at 100T clarifies that these adjustments to the player contracts actually happened before the season, and they wanted to align on the market at the time, as he describes, kind of what was going on with the best interest of all the players and all the parties. Then goes on to say we had some miscommunication our own with Riot due to all of our internal changes. We followed up with them promptly so the correct end dates were structured into the database. So, basically he says full sense of alarm. And as he goes on to say, I couldn't be more proud of how the group of guys have turned things around for the year. We're in active discussions with all of them to see what's possible for 2025 and beyond. So, effectively the implication being that this change was made a long time ago, but it's not been reflected on the database until yesterday. So, as he says, bit of a false alarm in terms of the changes might mean, but, the timing is nonetheless quite fascinating. The very interesting thing as well, though, for these guys is the Sassy piece, because if you guys saw a few days ago now, and I feel awful for Sassy, right? They played that series, and when he got home from playing that series, unfortunately, him and his partner's dog had got to a point where, she was unwell to the point where they had to let her go. So really sad stuff, and I know there was lots of talk about this, of course, at the time about just, awful for Sassy and everything, and obviously it's taken him a bit of time to kind of get through this, right, and understandably, but it was spotted that actually Sentinels were scrimming with Curry instead of Sassy as of basically yesterday as well. So, there's been a couple of things that Sassy's been dealing with here, but, timing-wise, it's really not ideal, right? Because they play 100T today, And as we see here, we've got some scrims going down where Sentinels are down 16-6 to, we're not exactly sure who, but, it's Gen.G, Zekken, Kaplan the coach, Zell says Curry and Tens. So, very interesting, and 100T will probably have a lot of optimism to take from this, as unfortunate as the circumstances are, because even if Sassy is playing in the game against 100T, they maybe aren't at full preparation Sentinels as they would like to be. So, a few factors in play right now, but I wish you the best, of course, for all involved. And, as Curry says, hope you guys don't mind if I record some content tomorrow at 100T. Nah, I'd win. So I guess the implication is that maybe, look, if they were practicing with Curry yesterday and literally they'd play today, then are they going to play with Sassy or are they going to play with Curry in today's game? Because if they play with Curry, then obviously it raises serious questions as to whether, they're going to be able to win, because a Sentinels, a full-strength Sentinels with Sassy, like I've got them favoured over 100T, but a Sentinels with the last-minute sub in Curry, I rate Curry, but I don't know if 100T are going to be feeling full of optimism at that point that they can take this dub and therefore go on to qualify for the World Championship. And of course, that puts Sentinels' position in some degree of risk if that is to be the case. But I'm very much interested in your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.